Okay, now that the sharpening jig is finished, I'm going to show how to set it up and use it to sharpen a chisel. Before I get started, I need to show something that I missed in the assembly video, and that's to add nuts to the clamping bar here to lock the screws in place. These are just normal 3/16 hex nuts that are threaded onto the screws, and they keep the screws from turning on the clamping bar. The first step to using the sharpening jig is to set up the tool cradle to the correct angle. Use my T-bevel for that and set the angle on my T-bevel with my protractor. Let's hold that tight to the bottom of the jig and then move this until it lines up with the blade, and then tighten the wing nuts. Then it's time to insert the chisel. To set up the jig properly, you need this guide stick here, and the dimensions of this are not given in the plan. You actually have to make this based on how your jig turns out. In my case, the 2 layers of plywood at the back here are about 7/8 of an inch thick. Meantime, my stone is 3/4 of an inch thick, so that's a 1/8 inch offset. That means that when the chisel is in the cradle, it's going to stick down 1/8 of an inch so that it lines up properly with the stone. So with the guide clamped on, I can get the chisel in the cradle and slide it in until it touches the guide stick. And what you want to do is line the edge of the chisel up with one of these lines that you've drawn on the bottom here, and then tighten the wing nuts. Now the chisel clamped in, I can take the guide block off and it's ready to go. To get started, I'm going to get some oil on my stone, make sure there's no grit on here. I'm going to put a little bit on the jig to make it run a bit better. I've already put Vaseline on here, but occasionally oiling it will help. And then slide it in. Now I'm ready to go. And the way this works, you just hold it like this and you run it back and forth over the stone. What you try to do is you try to use as much of the stone as you can. Okay, I've been going at it for about 5 minutes now, and I'm making pretty good progress. I'm nearly all the way across, which is good. One thing I've done is I've changed my grip. I've gone to this kind of thing here. My 2 fingers are up ahead, my thumbs cross over, and press down on that, and my palms rest on the knuckles of the cradle. And that seems to be a way to hold it and use it for less hand fatigue. Occasionally you want to take the stone out and rotate it so that the wear is even. The stone I'm using is aluminum oxide, and it doesn't wear out as quickly, and that's the kind of stone that you want for this kind of a thing. Okay, well, I've been at it about 10 minutes and I think I'm there. Take my rag and wipe it off. And yeah, I'm fully across except for the very corner here, and I'll get that on the secondary bevel, so I'll leave that. The next step is to change the angle to 30 degrees, but before I do that, I'm going to mark this angle on the jig. That way the next time I put in a chisel, I won't have to measure it. It'll already be there. It's also a good idea to scribe a line across the back of the chisel to show how far in it's supposed to go. So the next time that you want to touch up the chisel, you can just slide it into that mark and then quickly check it to make sure that it's right, and then go ahead and sharpen it. So I'm just going to use a file and scribe a line across like that. Okay, so now that I've got the 26-degree bevel ground and polished a bit, I'm going to change it to 30 degrees. Same procedure again. Use a T-bevel and set it for 30 degrees. Now, once again, this is my personal preference. If you have another angle setting that you like to use, then that's entirely up to you. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to do it someone else's way, you can do it your own way. So to do that, I gotta remove the chisel temporarily, slightly loosen these wing nuts, and then I can rotate the cradle until it comes up to that 30-degree angle, and that's it right there. Yeah. Tighten these slightly and check it again, and that looks good. Make them very tight. This time I'm going to go ahead and make a mark right on the side here so that I can quickly set up the angle again. Now I'll slide in my chisel. It should be fairly close to that line that I scribed in before, but I'm going to check it anyway. This time I'm not going to clamp this on, I'm just going to hold it up to it. And this way you got to pull it back a little bit. You got to make sure that the clamping bar holds this in fairly tightly. Sliding back and forth here kind of jars it and can loosen it up, so just make sure that these are good and tight. Now it's ready to go. Okay, for the secondary bevel, I'm just going to, I flip the stone again to the rough side, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of work to establish the bevel first. I'm not going to do a whole lot on this side. I don't want to cut it down too much. Okay, a little bit of work here, and you should check it to make sure that you get an even grind right across, the same width across, and make adjustments to your chisel as needed. In this case, I look pretty good. Alright, I'm where I want to be. I got a 1/8 inch grind right across. Now I'm going to clean it up on the fine side of the stone. I'll wipe it off and have a look, and that looks pretty good. I got a bit of a burr on here that I need to clean up now. So I'll take it out of the sharpening jig and do that. And that should be it. Take it to the next step. You would polish your edge with a buffing wheel or a strop. For what I do, this is actually sharp enough. So that's how you set it up and use this sharpening jig. Plans for this are on my website at ibuild.ca. It's easy to build from common material, and as you can see, will come in handy around the shop. Thanks for watching.